Mark, maybe you could address, and I think this covers the next section, that a little bit how orchestras maybe can use social media, to get that casual concert goer, that first timer back, and really increase engagement, relating it to the churn study in terms of really driving and building that relationship to get them back for more.
Yeah, exactly. Who all here is familiar with the churn study?
The churn.
The churn study, the orchestra churn study. Well, let me first start with kind of the current environment of marketing. I think David Meerman Scott, well-respected social media author, he lists 4 ways to get attention, and I'm going to name the first 3. He said you can beg for attention, which is basically PR. You can bug for attention, which is basically sales. Or you can buy attention, which is advertising. Now, that's kind of the traditional way of getting attention and getting from a large group of people, narrowing down, the traditional marketing funnel narrows down to a couple of ticket buyers. So from the large general public, you want to spend a lot of money buying ads, begging and bugging to create awareness. Some of those who are aware might be interested, some of those who are interested might desire to buy it, and some of those will actually take action. So you have this pretty costly process of weeding out people who are not interested into a funnel and get a couple of ticket buyers. Now, the orchestra churn study, the 9-10 figure here means that of basically 50%, what they found, I think it was 5 or 6 orchestras that did this study, 50% of the people that come to your hall buy 1 ticket a year, and 86%, so almost 9 out of 10, don't return the next season. And 50% of those who attend for the first time, and there again, almost 9 out of 10 don't return the next time. So how can you, these unconverted trialists, as the study calls them, how can you turn them into the core audience? So it's over 5 years, they found it's a difference between $200 or $5,000 in donations and ticket sales. And basically, we don't want them to just become core audience. We want them to take their friends to the orchestra as well. So we want them to become advocates, not just core audience. Now, what the study found was that these people don't return, but what happens is you go to one concert, you get bombarded with messages. So basically what it boils down to is, don't ask me to marry you after the first date. I'll tell you a very telling story of my first year at working at an orchestra. Was I donated, I was very proud. I donated $150 to the annual fund, spread out over 12 months, taking out of my paycheck. The following year, I was sitting in my office. I got a call. The number looked very familiar. So I pick up and I said, hello, and it was the telefunding department. I think they were a third party working in the building, but still. And they asked me for $1,500. I said, you know where I work, I can't afford that. And that's kind of the approach. And the same with direct mail. You go to one concert, and you might only be into Mozart, but still you're going to get direct mail for every single piece of concert, that every single program that is going on. So you're bombarded with mail. And for these unconverted trialists, they found that the core audience, they're happy with the music, basically. They go for the music. These unconverted trialists, everything is the experience. So not just the music, it's the hall, it's the ticket buying process, it's the ad they see for the concert, it's the follow-up after the concert, it's the patrons during the concert, so everything is the experience. So I read this book, and after Beth's book, The Network Nonprofit, once you finish that, you should read that, the Flip the Funnel. I think it really, really applies to the churn study. what the premises is of the book is that you have to flip the traditional marketing funnel, and instead of going from uninterested to interested, you go from acknowledgement to try to create advocates. And so you acknowledge they're going to a concert. You know, you can even check in during the concert. How is your concert going? Is everything going well? You know, are you not being attacked by a patron because you clapped during movement? You know, and then it moves to dialogue, and you know, it's not just broadcasting anymore. It's not just broadcasting your marketing messages anymore. It's real conversation. It's I was in a marketing class a while ago, and the professor there said, it's easier to engage than to manipulate. And I think that's very true. You know, it's easier to strike a conversation than to try to manipulate someone into buying something. The incentivization, I think that's a made-up word by the author, but what it basically means is, and you saw that in the churn study, if you give them a killer offer, you know, that takes into account the entire experience, so not just the music, but you know that they went to a Mozart concert and they really like Mozart, so you offer them a really good deal on the next Mozart concert, plus maybe a free drink at the bar or free parking for one time. Get them in the door again, and they'll much more likely to return again. So incentivize, and don't forget to reward your core audience, though. I think Ally Bank is running these great advertising, these commercials on TV right now, where this one kid doesn't get ice cream, but the other kid does. The new kid does get the ice cream. The kid that was a customer doesn't get the ice cream. You know, you want to avoid that too. Don't forget to reward word of mouth by your core patrons. Then comes activation, which I always like to refer to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. They allow their patrons, I don't know if I can call them patrons, they allow their people to activate themselves. They have this framework. People can set up their own little site on their site and fundraise for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society through these athletic events. But you know, it's about this framework of making this activation possible. And you know, think about a volunteer office of the 21st century. You know, it's not just trying to get people in to volunteer. It's about trying to activate them within this technological framework, trying to activate them as I'm losing my train of thought. But I think I think one parallel to this kind of flipped funnel is, you know, a real life example is, you know, you don't ask me to marry you after the first date. Well, you go on a couple of dates first. So offer them something nice. You know, you have to make a good impression. Then you go steady. Might be a subscription. Then your proposal to marriage. So maybe they'll donate. And then you might have kids. So, you know, making the new generation of patrons. And, you know, not literally, but, you know, trying to create these brand advocates so that they can create new patrons. So looking at some of the real examples out there, I think the London Symphony Orchestra just does a terrific job of making real conversations. I've been in touch with Jo Johnson, the marketing manager there, and she really explained to me that they're really talk to them as a friend. And I think the one example here from a comment on the wall is very telling. I don't think I would necessarily ever have said it in that tone where you know, they say, sorry, he's not recording it. He has his own record label, so he wouldn't appear on ours. But they're not taking it either. You know, that's. I think a lot of PR departments would have some trouble with that statement out there because, you know, you're implying a kind of thing. but it does keep the conversation real. So I think that one kind of is, you know, balancing the line. And I like their intro, you know, pull up a chair and let's chat. When I started the CSO page, I posted a little forum topic that said, you know, what do you want from us? What is it that you want on the page? And I got a couple of suggestions. One of them was, I want a photo of the CSO brass section. Well, I said, well, that's easy. So I posted a publicity shot of the CSO brass section. All of a sudden, I got tons of comments underneath it saying, you know, these guys are my hero, and all of these great comments. So just a little act of kindness of posting this photo that they wanted, and you can solicit a lot of great feeling and a lot of great comments. On Twitter, the London Symphony is a good example too of, you know, replying to direct questions and kind of being a concierge. You know, people have questions about the London Symphony, about recordings, about how to get to the hall. They'll talk to that. You know, a lot of organizations I see out there just automatically update their Twitter feed from their Facebook status updates and don't do anything else with it. That's not the right approach. You have to keep this conversation going.